This is Sean Sport in podcast form.
Matildas last night, who took care of China in front of 77,000 fans over in Sydney. 2-0, Nate.
It's amazing what they have done to keep the energy levels of people's enthusiasm for the Matildas. We thought it might have just been a moment in time, but it's not. And think about all the little girls now growing up seeing women's sport with such success and people going to see it with such passion, sold out crowds and stuff like that. That's their reality. Isn't that amazing?
Nathan, the registrations for women's soccer went through the roof over the last 12 months. They need to make sure they can capture this. There was a moment where it happened a little while ago, but they weren't able to hold on to those people long enough. And because of the national body and the way they've run the A-League has been so horrendous, they've never been able to take advantage of that. So they've got to take advantage of that. You're right. There's so many people who have got eyeballs on that, males and females.
It's
wanting
amazing
to play for Australia and seeing the opportunity. They've just got to make the most of it now.
Yeah.
And hopefully those crowds will continue to turn up. The biggest story, though, over the weekend is going to be, it's Harley Reid missing the next 2 weeks at this point in time for his dangerous tackle in the St Kilda loss over the weekend. And everybody's been throwing up the notion of the fact that maybe the Rising Star Award should be, the eligibility criteria should be changed, given that him and Sam Darcy will both be unable to win the award when it is handed at the end of the season.
Knowing nothing about any of it and just learning about it yesterday, I think that I'm pretty much an expert on it now. I do not think that should be in the mix for this award, because this is a Rising Star Award. So this means how good you are going to be in the game, the potential you have for the future, right? So there was him and another guy that have been taken
Sam
out
Darcy,
now. Yeah. So they've been taken out. Then they've named the next two people. Well, they're not the Rising Stars. The other two were.
Well, naming them
by default, they are.
Naming two people is just they're the next. These two could win it.
Yeah,
so one of those guys, right?
But
whoever it is.
Even if you win it, you're not the Rising Star, because it was going to be their first choice was the first two, but they got penalised.
Well, yeah, but you've got to kind of look at it in the. I'll play one side of the story. You got to look at it like the Brownlow medal, right? So some guys get suspended, and whoever stands up on the dice is the winner of the Brownlow medal.
But by the time you get the Brownlow medal, you know what you're doing. These are people who are just starting out. Well, you know what I mean? They're on the P plates.
The AFL are saying the Rising Star and the Brownlow are equal awards, right? So one is for the youngest, the first-year player, and that is seen as exactly like the Brownlow of the future, if you like. Does that make any sense?
I think
so. The rules are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Anything in between, like you win Clubman Awards and First Player Award and all that kind of stuff, Channel 7's Player of the Year type of thing, they can be dictated just by you playing. If you get suspended for hitting someone, you do whatever you like.
Yeah.
You can get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm with you, though. I think it's outdated.
I think
it's an outdated way to look at it. Me personally, I think the rules need to change with the times. Before, though, and the rules still stand, Toby Green, who's the GWS captain, he never got it because he got suspended. And I think it was Dusty Martin also missed out on his opportunity to win it. So it's been around for a while. He's not the first person, and nor is Harley Reid, and Sam Darcy. They're not the first people to be rubbed out in this.
Yeah, but how good were these other people you spoke about? I mean, how good were they really? Were they on the back page every day of the paper? That's my question.
Yes.
We know how good Harley Reid is. He's on the back page of West Australian every day.
That's a really good point.
That's how good it is.
I'm sure the West Australian will be fighting this always to the bank. But
they'll be going, oh my God, thank God. Because they just literally, if he drops, if he puts something in the bin, they go, oh wow.
Yeah. If he did a sneaky fart in a board meeting at Channel 7, would that make the back page?
Of course it would, Sean. Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe going forward that they'll have a look at it. Laura Kane, who's the general manager of the AFL, she said absolutely not. The criteria stands, as does the Brownlow medal stuff stand.
Yeah.
But things can, in the cold light of day, things can change over time, and they should do.
Well, about that tackle, did you think it was warranted of...
2 weeks straight away. That's an easy call.
Yeah.
That's a really easy call for the AFL to make. And if he plays for your team, you still would know that that's going to be a suspension, regardless of...
I just still don't know what the right way to throw someone
the guy,
is.
It's very difficult. It's so dangerous. Yeah, the rules have changed so much, Nathan, and you don't need to be an expert to see this is difficult.
So we're thinking
to know.
if you wouldn't throw your nana like that, don't do it in game of football.
We had a chat off air. Nathan came up with a scenario.
If you look at it and go, what I'm about to do to this person, I wouldn't do to my nana. then don't do it.
You got to stop yourself.
Yeah.
Before you wreck everything.
Yeah, because Nana, like, you know, she's what happens. Her bones are old. She'll just like just be like a puff of powder.
So Harley Reid up for tonight. He'll be up to the tribunal. Look, if he gets 1 week instead of 2, I'm not sure. I think it'll probably stand and they'll cop the 2 weeks and have to move on.
Would we care if it wasn't Harley Reid up for it?
No, because no one's caring about Sam Darcy, who possibly is a better player. Nobody knows who he is out of WA.
Well,
He's
they
a
should put him
star,
on the
this
back
kid.
page of the paper. Geordie, show me that again.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right.
Well, he's just cannon into the back of a Collingwood player there. And it's Braden Maynard, who no one likes.
But so
you'd
wait,
probably-
he was in mid. Did he know he was there?
Well, yeah,
he
to go
did
for the mark.
because he went side to protect
That's a couple of
himself.
things. Now, that guy's nearly 7 foot. He's a big unit, and he's going to be a star of the future in a massive way if he isn't already. So those two players, Sam Darcy and also Harley Reid, not able to win the Rising Star Award.
Sean Sport in podcast form.
Seabass, always great to have you in the house. You're doing a bit of travelling over the weekend, Seabass.
Yes, I got. So when I told Fox I was moving to Perth, they were like, "Oh, you're not going to have as many
They
opportunities."
googled Perth.
Obviously in Sydney, I used to go down to the Melbourne games. I did Adelaide all the time. Like it was just really easy to flip between the states, but not as much here in Perth. So yeah, I got the call up to go to Melbourne. I did the Vixens game on Saturday and the Mavericks game on Sunday, and then came back last night.
Flights. Do
Yes.
you? Because we know how tall you are. But what happens? Do you automatically within that job get that taken care of?
No, so I jump on when I get my flights and I book the exit straight away. I'm happy to pay the $70 or whatever it
But
is.
when there's no exits, it's like, and then, you know what gets me is when there's no room there and you walk past and it's full of short people, and it's like, no, Tallies should get it first.
Yeah, surely
Yeah.
when you sign up for an exit seat, you have to be this high. It's like the
If
ride.
you can fit
have
in
to
the
be this high
overhead
to-
cabin, then ridiculous.
Caitlin, most people, though, when they see you, would think that you're a sporting star anyway, wouldn't you, because you're height? Do you think?
No. Well, no.
Yeah.
I did get a lot of, oh my God, you're tall at the airport. I think it's just random. It is what it is.
No, I just
If you
think,
see a
she's
tall
an athlete,
person,
she's gotta
don't
be an
walk up
athlete.
and tell them, "Oh my God, you're so tall." They know.
Yeah, we know. We know those things.
The games themselves, we know that the Melbourne Vixens took care of the Fever just last week. Are they still setting the benchmark, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. They came back. They had a really good win against the Giants. It was actually interesting what happened on the weekend. So, Giants captain Joe Harton came out as, well, she was ill in the last minute. So like a few hours before the game, she can't play. And so they were left with only 9 players. And luckily, the reserve side had come over to play as well. So they were able to pinch a player from their reserve
This is all
side.
happened with the cricket, Sean.
Yeah,
When you have people to play, they're just pulling anyone in.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they pinched a player from their reserve side. Luckily, they didn't win. But then the same thing happened with the Fever. So up in Queensland, the reserve side were playing in Brisbane and Fever were playing in the Sunshine Coast. And so Jordan Kranzberg has a twin sister that plays for the reserves team. She played a whole game
was
for the
there.
reserves team, and then
No
her
one
sister got
knew.
sick. So she got the call up, "Can you get down the Bruce Highway and play for us?" And so she did. So 3 hours later, she suited up to play for Fever and got on court. So
And they could keep the same suit on the back
well,
of
yeah,
Kranzberg.
pretty much. Yeah, there's
that's
still
so-
Kranzberg.
God,
so-
isn't that
No one knows.
amazing?
But yeah, imagine if they didn't have the team up there, they would have been
Yeah.
short a player as well. So I think it's really ignited the conversation once again. When we started Suncorp Super Netball, we dropped from squad sizes of 12 down to 10 because we added 3 new teams. But now these teams are all established. We're kind of seeing the need to add 2 more players once again because there are more injuries, there are more illnesses just popping up randomly.
Why did they
so-
take it down to 10? Is that what's that?
The
What?
affordability
Money,
factor.
just money.
And just like the spreading of talent as well, probably there
Yeah,
wasn't
okay.
enough talent to spread between those 3 new teams. But now we see, all these imports in our competition. We've seen these amazing Australian players coming up and pushing for selection. So it'll be good to see potentially in the future them extend the squad sizes again.
You bring up the twins thing, and in the AFL this weekend, providing they both get through training, the Mackay brothers will play against each other for the
Identical?
very first
I love
time. Identical twins.
God, it looked like you were running up to a mirror.
Hey, you're wearing a
Oh
different
my
jumper.
God, that's magic.
So they've been in the comp for 9 years, and they've never played against each other because one time or another, one's been injured or one's been sick. In 9 years, they've never played against each
That
other.
is
So this will be the
wild.
first time.
Wow.
2 brothers. They're big
It's
units.
not the first time in AFL, but the first time they've played against each other.
Yes.
I was about to say Mitch and Nathan Brown used to play.
Yeah. Yeah,
One
they
for
did.
Eagles and one for Collingwood. That was quite
Identical
entertaining.
twins
Yeah.
playing elite sport.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's funny when I interviewed Jordan
And they're
Kranzberg.
big guys.
When I interviewed Zoe Kranzberg, and asked, how was that day for you? And she said, I never want to replace my sister. Like, it was sad. She was excited to get the opportunity, but she was also sad because she just wants to play with her sister. And imagine that. Like, they say twins have that freaky, like, mind thing where they can connect with one another. Number one, did she know her sister was going to get sick?
Yes.
And then number two, imagine playing with your twin on the field or on the court. Would you know exactly where they were going to be at any given time? Could
so
you do the look away passes?
you naturally just know automatically. Your body knows what the twin is going to do. My thing
That would
about
be great.
identical twins, and I think they're magical. I really do. Is God, wouldn't you get so sick of looking at yourself?
Yeah, you wake up
Don't
every
you
day.
reckon? Like, sometimes you don't look in the mirror. Well, too bad.
There's
Here
no
I am
there.
there, like, getting dressed,
a bit
walking
much,
and
isn't it?
having breakfast.
It's
It's
a
like,
bit
God,
much.
do I eat like that too? God, just be so self-conscious.
like that too. Absolutely. And Caitlin, are you writing anything on the Harley Reid saga? And what's your thoughts on the Rising Star Award?
Well, we do know that she's going in to write because she's got a riding puffer jacket on.
I've got my
She
riding
has.
puffer. I'm ready to
Why?
brave the cold. It's just at the West. It's very, very cold. I think it's
It's
a big
cavernous.
office. It is. It's a big office. It's better to have people cold than warm. So I'm always prepared. But today, what am I writing? I've got a couple of columns to punch out today, so that'll be fun. Harley Reid might get slipped in there. But my thoughts on the Rising Star stuff is that if you look at the names of the people who were suspended and haven't won the Rising Star, who have gone on to
It
be
didn't
incredible
stop them.
players,
Yeah.
exactly. It didn't stop them. I think the Rising Star is more of a, this is the introduction of playing in the
It's
big
more of a
league.
vibe.
And part of the introduction in playing in the big league is that you can't do silly things like get suspended. So it is. It's kind of
See, I see it
understanding.
differently. I
do
see
you
it
see
as,
it as?
I see the Brownlow as you've had this amazing career, you're well respected, you are seated in the AFL and you know what it's about. Therefore, the rules should apply to that. Rising Star, you just knew, you don't know the rules. It's
think
like
you
you're
go
on the
bash
P play. It's
people?
like, you know what I mean? You know that you're not supposed to pull someone by the shirt and pull them down with momentum, but you don't really know it. So I feel like we should be able to let, the younger generation have a few mistakes because really the Rising Star should be the person that you think is going to be the next big thing in football. It can't be like those two people that you think are going to win that award are out and then the next two. Because that makes,
Well, the
But
Brownlow's
that's
not
the way
often
I
won
see it.
by the best player in the league
No,
necessarily.
I know,
'cause
but
otherwise it's just a-
that's where you learn the rules.
But when you're on your P plates and or L plates, you do something wrong, you get twice the amount of trouble.
And if you get caught, and that's the thing. Only if you get caught.
Lesson learned, my friend. Lesson learned.
There you go. And that was sport, everybody.
Sean Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.